yo, it's your boy Ancient Albatross here again with the Cypher Unlimited crew. We have our usual suspects of AD or Alpha D. We have Spigs 18 or Anthony, and just as a quick reminder, if you haven't already, make sure to follow us here on Twitch, subscribe to us over on YouTube, and check us out on the Anywhere Door, which is a new streaming platform that Monte Cook Games had a hand in building, getting up online with their Backerkit and whatnot. They are collecting as many Monte Cook Game content creators as they can in one spot. And that is the spot, the Anywhere Door on Moonbeam. So yeah, if you haven't checked it out, definitely check it out because that is the hub to be for all things Monte Cook Games. Aside from Cypher Unlimited, this is more for content. But either way, without further ado, Anthony, what are we doing here tonight?
Hey, before we even go into a topic, we want to welcome back our new granddaddy, Dean. Welcome back. Congratulations,
Thanks,
brother. I didn't want to say your beautiful granddaughter's name. Not sure if you wanted to put that out in public. But
oh yeah, we can say her name. I mean, come on, it's worthy of the CU. It's a worthy name. Her name is Aurora Nova.
Oh, nice! Congratulations again, brother. You know, we
Thanks,
missed
man.
you last week.
I missed you guys, but it was needed. Trust me. Last week was whirlwind. You know, she came early. She's only 4 pounds 14 ounces. But she's doing good. She's already off the breathing tube. You know, they just give her a little oxygen. She's getting stronger by the minute. So I can't wait to be able to post a picture for everybody to see. You know, but we don't want to post that stuff. But guys, I really appreciate, you know, the understanding of it last week and, you know, actually enjoying and, you know, being able to be a grandpappy.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Family comes first, of course. You know, and why we're here is now that the Cypher Backerkit has ended, you know, I think we all needed a few days to process everything that happened, especially the last 24 hours and the overtime was an absolutely wild ride. I would just go over the final numbers were $1,025,264 raised. There was 5,576 total backers. I think it's fair to say that this was the most fascinating crowdfund we've ever been a part of. The interaction within the community was a sight to behold. I felt like the entire CU were on the edge of their seats with every stretch goal and every pledge. So, you know, we just wanted to do a video to talk about just that, you know, talk about not only this great accomplishment that happened, because to be honest, I think Charles mentioned it in our chat when he said that this was only the 15th Backerkit that exceeded $1 million that wasn't that wasn't a D&D related project. So that's an accomplishment in itself. You know, we just want to congratulate Monte Cook Games. They hit 16 stretch goals, which was freaking awesome. So guys and chat, how was your Cypher Backerkit experience? Let's start off with that, short and sweet.
As a whole, for me, I think it really was a wild ride. I mean, because you remember it started out like gangbusters. I mean, they hit 300,000 like overnight. It seemed like, you know, first couple of days. Then it just was kind of mellow. Then the next thing you know, I mean, how much in the last 48 hours they made a couple of $100,000, like, you know, $300,000 or $400,000. That's just insanity, man. So I'm pretty impressed. And then on top of everything else, you know, I was trying to peek at stuff, watch the baby, peek at stuff, watch the baby. So it was great.
I mean, I think they were on par for the way traditionally MCG's crowdfunds go. They usually, like you said, they come out in gangbusters the first 2 days, and then the last 2 days it's a big jump as well. Then you have that like gap in the middle. But I personally think that they we'll go over the stretch goals, but they announced the Strange pretty early in the run of the stretch goals, which kept the momentum. Would normally it'll be 1 or 2 days of consistent backers. But since they announced the strange, they had like the first week was a good week for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Because
something else.
I think the strange to just do that. Yeah.
Well, and I'm gonna say this: the thing that blew me away the most was that freaking overtime lasted for 24 freaking hours, dude. I mean, every 10 minutes it was like boom, 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 boom. You know, because I just kept flipping over, and every time I flipped over, it was like another 100 people. I was like, that's insanity.
I mean, Dean, you wasn't around for this, and I don't want to toot our own horn as in the CU community, but I think we had a big part in that because I think we had a good 40 or 50 people that were keeping it going when they saw. Because I know personally, I had one bullet in my chamber. I wanted the extra dice set, so I waited till there was like a minute and a half left on the clock before I added that to my pledge to keep it going. So, and I know I wasn't the only one because there was a bunch of people in the chat saying the same exact thing. Like, hey, I want to get this, but I'm going to wait till, wait till we absolutely need it.
Well, I did too. I did the VTT support and I did the dice too. Yeah. So, I think, and I also did a journal. I did a journal.
No, I'm talking about in the overtime though, not.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. In overtime. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. In overtime, I did a couple. I did the dice.
So, but that's what a good community that supports their companies should do. And I think several other gaming companies did the same. I think this overtime thing kind of changes the game a little bit on a Backerkit because. Especially if there's a stretch goal that they're so close to reaching, if you get a couple of dedicated people to say, hey, we're going to keep this in the front page of the Backerkit. So anyone that logs on the Backerkit, they're going to see this number going up.
There, right.
Yeah. And then once you start hitting that 800,000, 850,000, even people that are not fans of Cypher System are going to get that FOMO. Like, hey, maybe I should back this, because so many people have backed it already. Al, what was your experience like?
I mean, it was fun. We all got hyped when we knew it was coming. We had a little bit of, behind the scenes but news that it was coming. So we got the pre-hype, which was very hype, amongst us, right? And then we got the the community hype when it was actually announced. As we drop in tidbits and then it gets announced, like everybody gets hyped. And then along with the strange, basically right at release, essentially, like that was like their first big stretch goal. People were very excited, and me, like I didn't really care too much about the strange. It wasn't a game I played a ton, so I was hyped for the people who were hyped, but me personally, But when they announced that predation. That was a game changer for me. When they announced that was, I was very excited. It got me thinking about my old one-shot, maybe even running people in it, down the line, not for CypherCon because I was too busy running CypherCon or helping run it. But yeah, the predation aspect got me very excited. And then, of course, breaking that mill with the 24-hour overtime. I went to sleep the night before, and it was like, I think 11-ish my time, 11 p.m. So that's like that's like 2 o'clock Eastern. And I'm going to bed. I'm thinking everybody's going to bed now. West Coast is going to bed. East Coast already went to bed. It's at 9:25K or whatever it was at. I was like, this is probably it. Like we tried. It was good run. I go to sleep. I wake up and look at my phone. I'm like, it's still going? I don't think I had broken a mill when I had woke up, but it was still going. I was like, we're definitely breaking the mill. And then, of course, over the course of the day, people kept backing and adding add-ons. And the most popular thing I saw people adding on were the dice, to get that number to reset, that 10-minute reset. And then, we broke the mill, and we literally, it was 24 hours and, 15 minutes of overtime or something. Right after that 24 hours, and then it ended. And then, it was still 25,000 over the million too. And we didn't just hit the million. We got 25K over, which was crazy. I thought we were gonna hit the million and it was just gonna end. But no.
You know what was funny? I stood up all the way to the million, so it was like midnight, almost 1, right? And I was like, screw you guys. You know, I did the Eric Cartman, screw you guys. I'm going home. I'm going to bed. As soon as we hit the million, I went to sleep, woke up for work, and it was still going.
Right. That's the part that messed me up, because when I got up, you know, I'm like, okay, everything is everything, you know. Wait a minute. It's still in overtime. What you know, and that was just crazy. You know, I want to say this though about this kit, this Bacerkit.
Oh, for the record, guys, you know, I won the pool.
That's funny. Yeah, when we were trying to see who, because I think I said 1.2 mil is what I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a lot of people at the beginning were too hype, and they were like 2 mil plus.
But no,
a million. That's a pretty significant hit. I think this is their third million. Yeah, this might be the. I could be wrong, but I think this is their third, right? Their $3 million.
Third, it's the third or fourth, because we know Magnus Archives did it twice, and I think Old Guys did it once, so this might be the fourth one.
No,
Maybe
this is
5?
their fifth then.
Maybe 5.
Yeah, because
did it Invisible Sun? Yeah, also hit a mil. Yeah.
Oh, right, the Invisible Sun, right. I forgot about Invisible Sun.
So this is their fifth. Not bad. Not a bad run. But speaking of stretch goals, guys, let's go over. You guys want to read off all the stretch goals that happened, and maybe we'll talk about, like, we'll pick out a couple that we find exciting.
Well, I wanted to say this real quick. We'll go right into stretch goals. I was just thinking about this whole thing, and you know, we had some insight. We knew some things, like, you know, I had been told about like predation coming and stuff. But I'm gonna tell you, it's an entirely different feeling when it actually happened. It was crazy. You know, I didn't think, I knew they were going to do predation, and I didn't think I was going to be excited. But then next thing I know, I'm sitting there going, oh man, this is going to be great. And not only is it going to be great, but oh good, the book is expanded, you know. So it was all that kind of cool shit. It was just a lot of cool aspects that I really thought was wild with this particular Backerkit. So where you want to start with the stretch goals, Ant?
From the very beginning, let's go over each goal.
So MCG changed the model. Unlike most places that will say a certain dollar amount, MCG decided to go with backers. So 1,200 backers was the first stretch goal. Players book expansion. Great, awesome. 1,700 backers got us upgraded to premium features. Core books got lustrous foil covers, a backer exclusive that wouldn't be part of the standalone edition. So everybody who backed this, you guys are getting, some nice deluxe edition, deluxe additives. 2,200 backers, which they crushed in minutes because they announced the Strange, again, and I know I've been the biggest naysayer. Oh, we don't need another Strange book. We don't need Strange. We got the Strange because it's, but hey, it's the Strange. So that's, like I said, I'll never deny a new book. Then the GM's book got expanded at 2,600 backers. Then at 2,900, we got the divination deck upgrade. And I'm looking forward to that. I think that's a great feature. What do you guys think about the divination deck?
Yeah, the divination deck is awesome. Especially, we had Sean on and Monty on, both talking about it. I think that the divination deck might be something that's not only is going to be useful for any Cypher game, it might actually be useful to prep any game, period. Because the way they described it, it's it's going to be a tool. And Al mentioned it last week that it could also be a solo RPGer's dream as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, they did talk about a lot of those features, and when you think about it, if you put the divination deck and the weird deck next to each other, you're in for you got a game, man. You got a game and a half. whether it's solo or at the table. And I mean, I think that's going to be great for like when we have those moments where we just want to, sit down, play a quick game, and don't have to, come up with anything.
Yeah.
Then they expanded the Cypher deck at 3,150 backers. So it's going to be 100 cards. And my understanding is that they were leaning more into, according to like Sean and Monty, I guess we're going to lean more into subtle ciphers, and they'll just give us the instances and understanding of how to, have manifest ciphers still exist. So that's really cool.
Now, well, I also think when they mean about leaning into subtle ciphers, I don't necessarily think they mean that they're gonna not have a ample amount of manifest ciphers. What I think they mean, and I could be wrong, but what I think they mean is that there wasn't enough subtle ciphers for genres that manifest ciphers don't necessarily make sense for. So they're going to have a stronger emphasis on giving you subtle ciphers for those settings and genres where a traditional manifest cipher just doesn't really make sense.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of when I said lean into that, but that's what I mean. I mean, you think about it, all the other books, and of course, ciphers are going to change, but just look at the number of ciphers we have, from other products. So I was just saying that probably right along the line you saying, just giving us more guidance on how to, have subtle ciphers in your game and so on and so forth. So we all on the same sheet. And then at 3,350, I thought this was going to cause Anthony to quit Cypher because they put a GM screen up there, Mr. Anti-GM screen, but no, he stayed true and got over it.
I'm happy for the GMC screen. I'll use it, begrudgingly. But I will say this though, they still should put out a GM mat, because some of us like the GM mats. So I have no problems with everybody getting their GM screen, but for us mat enthusiasts, throw us a bone too here.
You know what it is? What I've come to understand, I like the GM screen for setting up displays. I love because somebody is walking by and it's like pop, and then of course if it's sitting on a mat, then again you get another pop. But sometimes, but like I said, I'm good. The GM screen, I'm happy for it.
Yeah.
At 3,450 people, the Strange expanded. That means the Dimension Hopping book got that much thicker, that much meatier. And we're the type of guys, we do not complain about page count. We like page count. Well, I mean, at least some of us do. I don't know about everybody. Yeah. I can't speak for everybody, but I like page counts. Al said no.
I can't read.
Yes, you can. Shut up. You don't like to read. That might be it.
Asterix. I can't read. Asterix.
All right. And then this is where the hype train started up again at 3,575 backers. They announced the Predation Adventure. PDF Adventure based in the fan favorite studying the Predation. That got everybody psyched. We were happy to hear that.
Dean, I must slightly disagree. Some people were on the hype train. Some people were starting to sharpen their pitchforks because when this got announced, we had a couple people go, "Oh, they just giving us a freaking Predation Adventure, not Predation," even though they were setting people up for the Predation book later on.
Well, I'm saying, I mean.
We had a couple of pitchforks being sharpened.
But that was the beautiful thing. Listen, they were sharpening their pitchforks. It creeped up to 3,700. And at 3,700, when that happened in the next hour, when the new Predation book was announced, people lost their ever-loving shit because we got that extra 250 backers in like no time. I think it wasn't even a full 6-hour period before that was done. Now we got a Cypher deck at 4,100 backers.
Yeah.
4,250 Predation expanded, which was like really, we were gonna argue about that. Like Al, I mean, you don't really want any more pages in the predation book.
Only if they have to deal with companions and leveling them up.
Oh, okay. Oh man. Now this was the one that I really didn't expect, but a new book, 4,500 character options. That makes me excited because character options are always an important thing to have, no matter what it is. I mean, if you, because that just gives you more stuff to work with. It helps you flesh out genres that you wouldn't normally be able to play in, and so on and so forth. Or things that you might be thinking about. I love the option books because they always have unique things in it.
This was another one that was a little bit of a weird point in the Backerkit because I kind of built up the hype because we were told her, hey, another book is coming. So I started, promoting that everywhere. Like, hey, the next one's another book. And when it came out, people were expecting Gods of the Fall or something of that ilk to be the next announcement. And then the Cypher character options book was announced. So there was a little bit of like, what is this? Right? But then when Sean came on to talk about the character options book, he essentially said, we got all these ideas that we're not going to be able to fit in the player's book. And this is just going to give us a whole nother book. So we can add all these extra foci, all these extra, so it really got me excited. But when this first got announced, I don't know if you saw, it kind of slowed down on the kind of slowed down a little, seriously. Like it went like a good day and a half where, it didn't have the steam that it had. And I think that might have had something to do with it. Like people, and I could be wrong. I'm just like trying to analyze
you probably onto something because I mean, come on, we all sat up here and talked about wanting those 3 books revisited, those 3 original settings. We wanted them all revisited in order. It was Predation, Gods of the Fall, Unmasked. Let's revisit them in that order. And I mean, I was excited for it, but I don't know. It's something about every time I think about. I don't know if you remember them. I know you remember them, but I don't know if you remember them, Al. But they had the Numenera character options books 1 and 2.
Yeah.
I still pull those books off the shelf to this day.
I'm not arguing the validity of the book. I'm
not saying you were.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying you were either. I'm saying it kind of hit me a little different, because I'm always thinking about what else?
No, I was saying that it was a expectations versus reality type thing where people say you hear a new book is coming, people immediately think, oh, they did Predation, so Gods of the Fall Unmasked must be next. But we got player options or character options, right? Which is fine. Yeah. Like, I agree that it's a great book. Like, that's a great thing. People are going to enjoy it. But the thing is, again, that player character options thing is kind of just an expansion of the player book. Like, let's be real. Yeah. Let's be real. Like,
right.
They just kind of just made it its own book. So, in my mind, again, it's a book, but it's not really a new book because it expands an already existing book. Now, again, not to say it's not going to be great, but yeah.
Sean kind of hinted at a couple of stuff though when we were chatting, when I was chatting with Sean, where like there might be a new genre in there. He said it without saying it. You know what I mean? Like there's only so much, because of the way the foci are going to be designed now, where there's it's a skill tree, ability tree, or any kind of tree you want to call it. It's just is the page count on all the foci are going to go up. So there was only so much they could put in the player's book, right? But now they have another full book that they could put the rest of the foci, possibly some of the stuff from the white books, possibly a new genre. So, I do agree that I do think it was sort of an expectation thing during the Backerkit, but now that we have it, it might be really hella cool.
Yeah, well, like I said, I just remember I still pull options 1 and 2 off my shelf, when I want to look at stuff just for ideas alone. Those 2 books, those option books, and they had more stuff in it than just, the foci and stuff like that. There were information about different places and stuff like that. And you see how MCG has kind of expanded that the way they are offering, the internal worlds that they build. So I'm thinking, we might see a lot of cool stuff in those character option book. So, and after the character option book, well, we got character portfolios. A lot of people complain about those, but I think they're awesome. I love, like, when I go to conventions and stuff, being able to hand those out, or my personal group, and then of course, if you in PDF form, they're also freaking great.
All right.
Handy.
Once again, I got to be the defender of the people. I don't think they complain about the folios. I think they were complaining about it being stretch goals so late in the Backerkit. Because you got to understand that when this came out, we only had like a day and a half left. So people's dreams of Gods of the Fall coming out were quickly vanishing. So that's why you started to get a little bit of the negativity. Not that it was the character portfolios, because I think most people like the character portfolios. It was when it was announced in the Backerkit.
Well, I can see that 100%. So, and then last but not least, we got the final one. All the books were upgraded. Get the same premium finish they're giving the core books.
No, these are all the books be deluxe versions.
Yeah, that's what I said. All books. They said it's the same. Their premium finish they're giving the core books. Backerkit exclusive, so that means everything we have that we're going to put on our shelves is going to be nice and shiny, which means I'm probably going to end up buying another set of books.
Yeah, but that's what I'm wondering, because in previous Backerkits, the deluxe version was separate from the regular book. Is that the case here, or are we only getting the deluxe version?
Don't know.
Because traditionally we would get the regular version and the deluxe version for a back and everything, and this one is worded a little vague. So I wonder are we getting both?
Well, if you were looking from just extrapolating from what's been said, upgrade premium features. Your core books get illustrious foil covers. Backer exclusive won't be part of the standard edition. So it didn't say we were going to get those like they did, like with the deluxe edition of Old Gods or Magnus Archive. That wasn't in addition. That's just basically these books are being upgraded. And then it said that all the books are getting the same treatment. So I'm thinking we're probably only going to have one set of books, but that means it's no big deal. Like I said, I'll just have to buy some books because I'm an old grog nerd. I like my shelves, everything on my shelves to look good,
We missed a stretch goal that wasn't officially announced, but once they hit the $1 million, all the stickers that we were voting on over the course of the entire Backerkit, every sticker was now fulfilled to every backer. So we got what you call it, General Akbar.
Yeah. Admiral Snack Bar.
Yeah. I can't due to copyright. Admiral Snack Bar is a sticker that everybody wanted.
Yeah, that was a cool sticker.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, guys, overall, I think this was a phenomenal Backerkit. I'm excited about everything that, was announced, everything that we're getting. Right? So there's a couple, before we talk about what the announcement that came out from MCG right after this, because we're definitely going to talk about that. But I got a couple little questions that I want to ask the chat and ask your guys as well, right? So the first one is the obvious one. What's your overall take on the new Cypher now that the Backerkit is done? and we have a better understanding of what changes are occurring, and we have a better understanding of what to expect. What's your overall opinion on the new Cypher?
I'm excited for it. I mean, it's Cypher, and so far everything that's been revealed to us about it and how things operate and so on and so forth, it just leans more into what we loved about Cypher. It's giving us some more tools to be able to build those adventures and worlds that we want to build, as well as supporting, everything that's already come before. I think this was a hell of a, backer kit. And I'm pretty excited. I can't wait till next year to start when stuff starts rolling in. Or better yet, ended it later than December when they said we were going to get the playtest material. So,
yeah. Now that we've learned more about it, and we kind of, Sean gave us a breakdown on like kind of how the rules are changing a little bit. Like I don't think we got the full scope of it, but enough to understand, right? Like I can see myself again. I'm excited for it for I guess two reasons, right? One, you can make a way deadlier game if you really want to, right? With the wound system, because again, as the GM, you can decide, hey, my game is just 2 wounds, two major, 2 whatever it is, like 2, instead of the default 5, 4, 5, whatever it is, right? You can just tool a deadlier game off the bat easier. And you know me, I like Merkborg, I like things of a deadlier nature, so that's right up my alley. The other thing about it, though, is I can see myself personally playing the new way and also playing the old way if I like am in the mood for it. Like it's not gonna remove anything from how the old style of play was, because there is a part of me that's gonna miss having to really monitor my pools. Like, hey, like when I get hurt, my pools are gonna go down, and that's gonna matter how I spend my pools going forward. Again, that's still gonna exist in new Cypher, but it's not gonna be as prevalent with damage going, to wounds instead now. So again, very excited because I can see both. I can see the new playstyle being very fun, but again, I'm not fully committed to abandoning the old pool way just yet. I can see myself like depending on my mood personally. I want to use wounds. I want to use pool depletion. So yeah, I'm just excited overall because now I have options. Now I can decide how I want to play.
Yeah. Al, I think you touched on something I was going to say. I'm excited about testing out these new mechanics because I do think that originally when we first heard about it, that the changes were going to be minimal, and I don't necessarily think that the changes are going to be minimal. I think that there's actually some significant changes in the way Cypher is going to be played going forward. I'm excited to see them, but I do think there's some significant changes. I think the wound system is going to change the way the game is played. And I think character creation is going to be vastly different than the way it was prior. And I'm excited for all that. I'm excited for the changes. One thing we've been saying from day one is that MCG has earned the right from us to show us what they're planning to, and having faith that they're going to deliver, a great product, because they've never let us down before. But that's what I'm most excited for. I'm most excited in actually seeing these changes at the table. Like after the Sean interview, he got to break down how shields work with me, and they drastically different the way shields has ever worked in Cypher system. Yep. So, it's not. I know Dean said it's like the same thing. I don't think it's the same. I think it's gonna be significantly different.
Well, after Sean told us a few things, there are some major differences. I mean, because I was being able to read the chat and look at some of the character sheets and stuff he was talking about. So it is going to be different, but in the same respect, I mean, I'm like good with everything that's happening. And it's crazy because, we had talked about this before this ever came out. Certain things that I've been putting in my game it resonates with what they're doing, because I was already using technique trees to build. Remember, I was telling you how we are going to build martial arts organically, every player and stuff like that. So my focus system and character ability system is like, like I said, technique trees and stuff like that. I had a vigor system, but I call it vigor, which was kind of a wound system of my own.
Yeah,
So
we'll
different
get to
stuff.
that when we do your show. Right now,
Yeah, but
we're
I'm
talking
just
about
saying, but I'm just saying, I'm just saying things were parallels. So
yeah.
I'm super excited to get my hands on the books and just see how things go. So
Yeah, I mean, I think that's what I'm most excited for. I'm most excited to get these changes on the table and see. I mean, I know that they're gonna work because just in theory they sound like they'll work. But you never know. I know Charlie said in chat a while ago that the community is a bunch of tinkerers. So until we all get it at the table and start tinkering, we
right.
won't fully know. And that's the exciting part. For me, that's the exciting part is tinkering with the rule system and seeing, like Al said, what from the old system we might want to bring back. What are the new stuff? I'm just excited for all of that.
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing that I'm excited for with the new system, and that's for you to run a fucking zombie game. Do you hear me? I want a
Yeah.
zombie game, the wound system, the whole nine. I think that's going to make for some scary craziness with the zombies. That that how you run those games, man. So yes.
Also, too, the wound system is going to be pretty different significantly for horror. Like they might even break it down the amount of wounds you get according to the subgenre of horror, which would be super cool. But then that makes me want them, and this is off topic, but then that makes me want all the white books to be redone according to the new rules, which might be asking for too much, but it is what it is. All right, so the next question I'm gonna ask, so we're not, is what stretch goal are you most excited for?
Predation.
Are you really asking all that question?
Done. Period.
Which is funny, and you guys are gonna laugh. As much as I said we didn't need it, I'm really looking forward to the strange. I want to see, because now I want to see how they handle, the types and stuff in the strange with this new system. Is it still going to be just those 4 types, or is it going to expand now into these, some more interesting twists and turns? I'm really excited to see what happens with the strange.
I'm gonna go with the divination deck. I think that I know what the strange is. I know what predation is. I think they're going to be cleaned up, and I'm not sure if we're going to get some regurgitated material from the other 2 books into the current book, or they're going to be entirely new books. But the divination deck is something that's entirely new to me, so I'm kind of really excited to see what that looks like. No, and don't get me wrong, I'm gonna play the hell out of the strange and predation, but the divination deck is something that's entirely new to me, so I think it piques my interest the most.
I think you're right. I think if I had to change, you flopped me. I think I am more excited about the divination deck because you make a valid point. Because predation, if I want to run predation, I got it right here. Like it's sitting right here on my shelf. I could literally run it. And all I'm really looking forward from predation is to see if they actually expand the companion section, because that's something a lot of people have been looking for, or talking about. When they go and look at predation, they're like, but the companions don't really level up, well enough with your character. Like, what's the discrepancy there? So hopefully we see that. But that aside, again, the divination deck, I think you're onto something there. I think I am more excited for that, because then, again, I can do all my solo play shit just better, And if I want to play predation, I still have the book right here. Like I don't need the new one to play predation.
Yeah, I do think, and we know they watch and listen to these videos, right? I do expect an expanded list of dinos that wasn't in the original in the new predation book companions. There has to be, right?
So
because
that's not what people want, though. Like
that's what I want.
I mean, obviously you want more dinosaurs, right? But you can do that yourself. Well, I mean, again, we say that a lot, right? What people are like talking about is what?
You sound like Dean now.
No. But it's more of the.
No, Dean, have you been converting Al behind my back?
They want more official guidance on what you call it, on that leveling aspect. That's what I hear the most. It's not like the variety of dinos suck, or like I'm struggling to play as a dinosaur.
They just wanted. You're right though. Al's absolutely right. I mean, stuff that I did myself with the leveling up with companions, but there really isn't a lot of guidance. There's no guidance for real.
So what do you think then, right? Since we'll just touch on this topic and chat hop in this as well. Do you think that the new, and this applies for Predation and the Strange, right? Do you think that there's just going to be the setting expanded?
I hope.
And nothing new mechanically is being added to these settings, or it's just an expansion of the setting?
Well, because Predation used the Cypher system rulebook, so I don't think that I think there's just going to be the application of those rules, those new rules in the book, and as far as the character types and stuff like that. Again, I don't know. Just with the way they were approaching character types, are we going to get expanded character types in all the books? Because I think they said we're supposed to get like 6 types in the Strange, just like Numenera has 6 types.
Yeah, Charlie said he wants the setting progress, but then that leads into another question, right? Is the assumption going to be, right? Because this makes a big difference. Is the assumption going to be that you're going to need the original Strange book in addition to the revised Strange book, and the same thing for the Predation? Because if it isn't, right, that means that a lot of the page count is going to be retelling what's in the original Strange and retelling what's in the original Predation in this new book, which will eat up 2/3 of the page count. Am I making any sense on this, or?
I think you are, but what I think, with the way this has been announced, though, I think they're going to treat the Strange like a book, like they did Predation, where they didn't have to reprint all the rules anymore. You know what I'm saying? You remember how with Predation, they would reference the Cypher system rulebook?
I'm not talking about the rules. I'm talking about the setting, the lore. Like if the assumption is, right, that it's a continuation of the existing setting, then you don't have to reprint what's in the original book. But if it's being treated as, hey, this is the new we'll use the Strange as an example. If the assumption is this is the new Strange, so that means that all the lore from the original book, most of it has to be in the new book.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think they would do that to us. I don't know. Well, I mean, I can't say.
I mean, it's not really doing it to us if they advertising it as the new version of the Strange. The assumption is that someone that's never read the Strange could pick up this book and understand the full setting.
Chad is making a good point, Ketup, and I don't want to scroll to see. The Crazy Weasel. Yeah. The old The Strange is not available anymore. You can't buy it. You can't buy the PDF. Like, you can't, like, literally are not selling the old The Strange. So,
so
it
then
would make no sense, for them to ignore what's in those books and not include them, because then newcomers are going to be fucking lost.
Yeah.
Like, they have to include that stuff.
And I'll be honest, I read The Strange twice and I was a little lost.
Well, you got to think about it. You got to, and you guys look at it too, though. There are six or seven books for the Strange, so that's still a lot of information that's out there. You got the adventure books. You've got
but once again, that's the whole point I'm trying to make.
What I'm trying to say to you is, in the new book, if this new book is going to be the Strange, it's probably going to be based. I would probably say that it's going to be like the original Strange rule book, because all those things were expansions. They're not going to try to put. You can't put everything in there. There's just no way with the way things are right now, unless it's going to be. These are going to be new products that are going to get announced as time goes on with other backer kits.
All right, so yeah, but that's a question, chat. And if you're watching this on YouTube, what do you think? What do you think? Do you think? And this is an honest question because none of us know the answer. We still speculated. Do you think it's going to be all new information, or it's going to be some of the existing information from the 2 original books being retold? Me personally, I think it's being advertised as a new version, so I think it's going to have some of the original information. I mean, some of the older information in the new book.
I'll say this: wishlist, they make it and they make it like what is it? Charlie was saying in the chat, where they expand on certain things. So they include the original stuff, maybe tweak it so it's a little shorter, so they can include the new information that people were kind of clamoring for, like what's currently happening, explanations for certain phenomena. Again, I don't know much about the Strange, but Charlie was saying they don't really explain much. So wish list version, they do it like that. They include the old stuff, but maybe truncate it a little bit so they can make room for new information. However,
I got two more. I got 2 more questions to ask, and I know we might have to cut off in like 10 minutes. So let me ask these 2 questions, right? What did you wish was not included in the Backerkit that you wish was?
Gods of the Fall.
If I could take something back, I mean, truth of the matter is, much as I'm going to enjoy the character option book, I would have definitely went with another setting. I would have, loved to have seen Gods of the Fall or Unmasked happen before the character option book. But again, that's they're watching. They're watching.
I would have said Gods of the Fall, but the more I think about it and the more talking offline with the MCG people, Bruce is writing The Strange, and it was just been a logistical nightmare for him to write The Strange and Gods of the Fall. So I can understand why we didn't get it. So it's not a painful blow. And I'm going to say something that most people disagreed with me on when I posted several times in the new Cypher channel on the Discord. I wanted a new starter kit, starter kit. I wanted a new starter set, and I think they should have had a new starter set.
Agreed.
Because if you're having all these new rules and a different way of playing, we should have had a starter set.
Yep. 100%. Yeah.
But nobody agreed with me in the I love starter sets, even if I don't use them. I love them for my collection, but I do think, especially with Dragonbane and what D&D did with the 2025 starter set, there's been a lot of high quality, super dope starter sets that came out in the last year, and I think MCG could have capitalized on that and did something hella cool with their new starter set.
Well, I mean, Anthony, like I said, I didn't see that particular chat because I probably would have agreed with you. Starter sets are the bee's knees. I got a bunch of boxes over there, starter set boxes. You know what? And maybe it's because we're older, but remember how when you used to order your old RPGs, they would come in a box set like that? Villains and Vigilantes, Champions, all of those old stuff came in box sets.
Yeah, I don't even play D&D anymore, but I'm going to give them their props on their last starter set. That thing is a beast. And it's the Dragonbane starter set that's right behind me. That thing's a beast. I think MCG could have really killed it, knocked it out the box with a starter set.
Well, they're hearing you now, so that's going to be on the list. Maybe we'll get a starter set like that for this announcement that you need to touch on real quick.
All right. And here's the last question I'll ask before we'll talk about the Numenera announcement, right? since they managed to raise over $1 million, do you think that all this excitement and publicity will increase the Cypher system's overall player base? And will they be able to keep the new players that are trying out this new system?
I think
the player base is. Go ahead, Al.
no, it's what you call it. The player base is definitely gonna expand, but it might be by a negligible amount. Like, let's be real. But we also have to see, because we don't know yet how it actually plays at the table, because we can obviously see that the design purpose of wounds and separating pools and damage and all that is to make it more in line with how other RPGs play, and let's be real, more like how D&D-ish plays, where you take damage, it goes from that section, not from your stats. I'm assuming there's other, RPGs that do wounds in this similar way, but let's be real, the one to compare it to is D&D, because that's what everybody plays. But yeah, I do think, again, if it plays well, and in my head, it seems like it's going to play pretty decently. We haven't had a chance to play it yet. I can see that some people who played D&D will come over, or will stay as Cypher players. But I think, again, it's going to be like a small negligible amount, because the D&D thing or whatever is too hype. Like, people, even if it's not D&D, just their preferred system, like Cypher might be a nice novelty, and then they'll go back to their preferred system.
And I mean, I'm sort of in line with Al, but as a whole, I think it's going to be that initial push. I mean, you think about it. Most of the time when MCG hit $1 million with these backer kits, it was with a IP, it was somebody else's IP, and we saw 5,000. Now we saw 5,000 people back pure Cypher. I think that's rich. I think that means something. I'm not sure exactly what it means yet. I think we might get some people who will become dual players. They might play.
I'm sorry, Dean. Finish what your thought.
I'm just saying that the dual player thing. I just think we might get some dual players. People who, dip their fingers. And so forth. Go ahead.
Chat saying something about comparing it to D&D, and that was not my question at all. I wasn't trying to compare Cypher to D&D.
No,
I
was
I
on
don't
me.
think Cypher.
Because again, wounds, separating it from the pools, again, that's more of a traditional HP type thing. And again,
yeah, but that's not D&D.
I just said it for the sake of that's the big elephant in the room.
Yeah.
That's why I also said what other systems might use wounds, whatever, right? The point is they're separating something unique from Cypher and making it more like what other things are.
Yeah, what I think is, where I agree with both of you, I think that, and this happens with every big crowd fund, right? Yeah, and chat brought up several different ones. What was that? Last Airbender is a perfect example. They did like $9 million or some crazy number like that. But how many people are actually playing Last Airbender, if we're being entirely realistic, right?
Listen,
but then
go ahead.
But then you got other games like Shadow Dark and Mork Borg that made a beautiful niche on crowdfund, and were able to maintain a player base off of that excitement and hype, right? I personally think that Cypher system getting, say, a 30% bump from this Backerkit, and if they can retain 5 to 10% of that 30%, that's a success. And I think that it's very possible for them to maintain at least a 5 to 10% additional player base, because realistically, you already got the $1 million, dude, right? So now if you got the $1 million and a 10% increase on what your average player base is, that's a win-win in any business model. Unless I'm crazy. Yeah.
No, like I said, I agree with you. Like I said, that's why I think it's going to be like a dual thing. I think we're going to get more people experiencing Cypher and giving it more of a chance. Like we were saying with Daggerheart. Daggerheart plays differently than D&D. It just does. Dagger, but and it plays differently than Cypher. But it has things in common. They have synergy, if you will. And I think you're right. I think by doing it this way, that they're going to probably attract people who play other indie games too. You're going to see some of the Shadow Dark, the Daggerheart people, and the Shadow Dark, and all of that coming over to play around with this, because now we have a new era. We were talking about it. We got a new era. The mid crunch game is becoming very popular. You know, it is just becoming popular. Just enough crunch, just enough options to keep everybody honest at the table, but the freedom to do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, for me, it's not about comparing it to any of these systems. It's about retaining the new eyeballs from the Backerkit. And like I said, if they can retain 5% of this additional, eyeballs on it, it's a win-win for them. One of the beauties about going through a crowd fund is that you already got the revenue for creating the games through the crowd fund, right? So now it's all about player retention. And if you could, they have a solid fan base to begin with. So if they can increase that fan base by 5 or 10%, plus having the money already generated the revenue to create all these books, I don't see a downside whatsoever.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you 1,000%. All right, we got 3 minutes. Bring it up, Ed.
All right, and the last thing is right after, or maybe 2 days after, Monty hinted at this at a CypherCon AMA, but they sent out a exclusive email for Numenera to return to the 9th world. And it's a pretty short little email that just basically give you a quick little, a synopsis of the 8 prior worlds of Numenera. They show you an exclusive dice, and they have the original. Remember the Numenera Strand video that they made a couple years, and that was all. So now everybody's talking crazy, like, what does this mean? So I want to ask you guys, what do you think this means before we sign off?
We're crowdfunding the Numenera movie.
That would be crazy.
Or the Numenera cartoon. It's going to be the Numenera cartoon, movie, or comic book that I think we're going to fund. And I'm just throwing it out there. That's just me being crazy right about now.
Yo, D, there could be some validity to that, though, because everyone's assuming that they're going to redo the books, right? But how about if they flip the script and announce a Netflix show or something like that?
That would be crazy.
They technically didn't really say, hey, they just showed the D20 and talked about, they didn't say, hey, the books are coming. You know what I mean? If we're going to get a hype train on it.
I will say this, though. If I recall correctly, and I could be wrong, I don't pay great attention, or, my memory is not the best. But when Monty brought it up during the AMA, when he said, keep an eye out for Numenera, or keep an eye out, after the campaign ends, the question was, will Numenera get the same treatment as New Cypher? So the implication it is a book. All right. We're getting a book.
And I also misspoke, because now I'm looking at it. It says at the very bottom, it says, follow for advanced news about the Numenera tabletop RPG. So they both my theory. My theory was shot down within the first 5 seconds of it coming out my mouth.
That's funny, though.
But
hey, go ahead.
So the last question then, if it's, are they going to redo the whole thing? So does that mean is Numenera going into the Cypher fold? Are we going to no longer have the Numenera types, and it's just going to be written like another Cypher setting book?
No fucking way.
Jason said, and Sean said that whatever the next Numenera will be more like a genre book. Interesting.
Huh.
That's interesting. Okay, if it was A genre book for Numenera.
Interesting if true.
Now that could be interesting if they decided to do a series of books like that, for Numenera, that were
I mean,
just like, stack up on like different type of settlements and so on and so forth.
I
Could be
mean,
interesting.
they're gonna have to put the new rules in Numenera. Like I said when the Backerkit first got announced, it just feels weird if the flagship title of the entire Monte Cook Games company which is also using the Cypher chassis, didn't have the same rule set as Cypher. I just thought it's weird. It just looks weird. It feels weird. So, like, I would expect Numenera to have the same sort of rules as Cypher.
So before we sign off, then if that's the case, then you know what I'm going to say this book is? This major book they're probably going to give us then may be something along the lines of a conversion matrix, for Numenera, without having to, that way nothing is obsolete, everything is still there, but now you have this massive book to help you update everything in those books.
If I had a guess, I would think that the Discovery and Destiny would just get redone to the new rule set. If I had a guess.
Yeah.
That's my guess too.
Yeah, like they first of all, I don't think a conversion book, and not to poo-poo your idea, Dean, I don't think a conversion book would generate enough excitement for a Backerkit to want to, especially if you're coming off $1 million Backerkit. You know what I mean? So
No,
I think just for excitement purposes, I would think that it's, hey, we redoing Numenera and you getting Discovery and Destiny just redone. Which it's been, Discovery and Destiny's been out what?
Since 2019?
Yeah, so
it's 2019.
6-7 years?
Yeah.
And then Charlie made a good point in chat that the all-in for Numenera is probably going to include all the old legacy stuff like Cypher, the new Cypher did. So it'll put all the old Numenera content into people's hands, and then going forward, they'll make the Numenera books on new Numenera, which will be more like Cypher.
Oh, that's right. And that's another thing, too, because there is a shitload of Numenera books that they can give out free PDFs for. I mean, I have a whole entire bookcase that's only Numenera. So that's a whole other level of free PDFs they can give out.
Yeah. 2018 was Discovery and Destiny, Anthony.
Oh, damn. So that's 7 years.
7 years.
Yeah, so give me Discovery and Destiny redone.
It's happening.
Again, like I said before, just give me books. I'm just going to be happy that, I'll have something to keep me occupied for a couple of weeks at a time.
So, I think we beat this horse to death. What do you guys think? What do you think? Chat, what do you think of the new Cypher? What do you think of the Backerkit? What do you think this Numenera message means? Let's bring, take this speculation trade over to the Discord. And if you're watching this on YouTube, put your comments in the YouTube section. Let us know if we're wrong about anything, you agree with us, or you hate our faces. Just tell us something. Put something in the chat.
Oh man. Well, everybody, you know what? Like, I'm with Anthony. Just, come in, continue to hang out. Let's continue to talk about it. And when those of us who back big enough to get that early preview, we're gonna have some great discussion.
Al, you have any final thoughts before I go into the usual spiel?
No, we're good. I was just laughing at the chat.
I hate your face. I roll back. I hate yours more. We definitely got some radio faces. If you like us and you like what we do, join the Cypher Unlimited Discord server for all things Monte Cook Games. We have the largest fan-run Discord for everything MCG, but if Discord's not for you, join our Facebook group. Not as big as our Discord, but still great conversations being had there daily. Our videos are always free, but if you want to support us financially in any way, you could give us a little donation on Ko-fi or go to our online store and pick up some cool Cypher Unlimited merch like the shirt Dean got on. And yes, CypherCon shirts will still be available. We have no idea when we'll take them off, but they won't be available forever. If you give us a subscription here on Twitch, or go to Anywhere Door on Moonbeam and follow us there, or also on YouTube. Like, share, and subscribe. All our videos there. We're still trying to grow all 3 platforms simultaneously, and it's freaking hard. So any help you could give us in that direction will be greatly appreciated. And last but not least, we love you guys.
Yep, thank you guys so much in the audience for coming by and chatting. This was an excellent chat. Very much looking forward to new Cypher when it actually drops. And very excited to see what they do with Numenera exactly. I mean, the obvious course is the Discovery of Destiny, but who knows? Maybe we'll get something completely different. But either way, thank you again so much. And thank you, Anthony Dean, chatting with me tonight. Not you guys, I keep doing this like your guests. Thank you for hosting with me. But yes, thank you so much. And from us at the CU, we will see you later.